Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today. This is sort of a special edition of the Studio City Sangha. As most of you know, the first Monday of the month is when we normally get together, but I've asked a number of you to come today because our friend Brent Pearson has been kind enough to bring his recording equipment so that I could record this session that we're going to have. Right now, this is just going to be a 15-minute guided meditation, and we'll begin now. As you settle down, settle into your seat, whether it's on the couch or a chair or you've brought yourself a cushion, this is this wonderful moment of transition that we make from our typical, normal, everyday modality of activity and thinking, where we have so many things to do and so many pressures on us and so much of our discursive mind coming at us in rapid fire, a cascade of thoughts and feelings and emotions and reactions. This is where we have invited ourselves really to transition out of that mode and into a contemplative mode, one that's served people well for thousands of years, and one in which we really, in a sense, are inviting ourselves back to our true home. This practice does reveal that our home, whether we have a house and a family and a wife and kids, that's wonderful, but we actually have one true home, and that's right here as we turn inward and as we look inside to find that one constant place that is our refuge. So as we transition, the most important ally we'll have in this is our bodies. And I'll speak here about the body. Later we'll move on to talk about the breath. I will then help you think about how to think about your thoughts, or put it another way, we'll explore a little bit as to what the mind's role is in meditation, and we'll end up with some discussion of our consciousness itself. For now, just relax into your seat, get comfortable and feel gravity holding you here in a loving way, and really signal to yourself that you're here for this self-care. This is really what we're doing here. This is an act of love. This is an act of self-compassion and self-love and self-kindness. With those ideas in mind, let's really take some time with ourselves and just go into complete silence. If you want to keep your eyes open, that's fine. Lower them to kind of half-mast with your lids. Have a very soft gaze on the floor in front of you, about 4 or 5 feet. Allow your peripheral vision to take in the room and everybody here. And you can meditate like that, or you can close your eyes. In our tradition, what you want to do is have a posture that is both highly dignified and relaxed at the same time. We talk about having a strong back and a soft front. A strong back means you sit straight and you line up the vertebrae one atop the other, and your head is directly on top of your spine, and you have a dignified sense of yourself, almost like a king or a queen who, not based on their power so much as just based on their training, they have learned to sit in front of people in a way that exudes confidence and a certain majesty. So we're all kings and queens in our own sense, and we sit like those people, and yet we have vulnerability, and we have an open heart, and we have softness and compassion. And so that's where the soft front comes in. This is where your heart is open to the world and open to yourself. So with a strong back and a soft front, your feet on the ground, give a sense of being fully present with your body. Invite your mind to actually join your body now. Your body's been here for a number of minutes. Now it's time for your mind to actually be embodied. And that's what we're going to do. And I'll be quiet for a few minutes, and we'll just feel ourselves here in our seats. Many times when we get together to meditate, the person guiding the meditation will often do a body scan. And we're not going to go into a detailed body scan today, but I would ask you, in a sense, to just think about the 4 parts of your body. From your waist down, take a moment to really feel all of the sensations that are coming from that lower part of your body. Now, between your belt line and your neck, your torso, the home to your organs, so vital, thank goodness working even without our needing to tell them to, and our hearts. Just really feel and appreciate your midsection, your torso. Now we can shine the flashlight of our attention to our shoulders and our arms and our wrists and our hands and our fingers. These beautiful appendages, so useful to us, so helpful. Just feel them as you make sure you've put them in a comfortable place on your lap in which they can reside there. And finally, from the neck up, this magnificent control room that we have, the supercomputer in our cranium held in our skull, the brain, the magnificent, highly evolved brain that is so important and vital to everything in our lives. Our face, the thing that we show to the world. Let's feel that for a second, almost from the inside out. So now we're going to employ a classical point of focus, often known as the anchor. This has to do with concentration. This has to do with our ability to pay attention to what we want to pay attention to. Jon Kabat-Zinn has said that mindfulness is the act of paying attention to the present moment in a non-judgmental way, on purpose, with a particular open attitude. And so, as meditation leads to mindfulness, so it's all about our attention. And to help anchor that attention, we'll go with one tool, not the only tool, but the one tool which is so classical, so vital, and so important for particularly connecting our minds and our bodies together, and that's the breath. The invitation here is not to breathe in any particular way. It's mostly to become aware of the breath in a way that allows it to anchor your mind, bring you back once and again to the present moment, to the here and the now. So we ask you to look for a sweet spot where the breath really sort of intrigues you. That can be at the nostrils, at the tip of your nose, as the air rushes in and out. It can be in your belly as your diaphragm pushes your belly up and down like a bellows. Or it can be up in your chest and your rib cage expanding. You can choose the sweet spot for yourself, but let's just take a few minutes to really quietly become aware of our breath and let our breath breathe us. So now, having signaled our intention through our posture and our awareness of the body that we are really dedicating ourselves to being present together here, now, having created a posture and a rhythm of paying attention to our breath, no doubt you have noticed in the quiet interludes that the mind, in a way, has a mind of its own. I'm sure if you're like every other human being, that the thoughts have been nonstop in coming in, the plans, the fantasies, the worries, the many, 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 many thoughts that we have don't necessarily respect this time of meditation and decide just to go away. It's very important that you understand that mindfulness meditation is not anti-thought whatsoever. As a matter of fact, we welcome the thoughts because they are perfectly natural and organic and inevitable to being a human being. In fact, what we're doing is creating a new relationship with our thoughts, observing our thoughts, actually getting a kind of objectivity in which we see them arise and we see them flourish and we see them dissipate and go away. So when the thoughts come, don't fight them. It's perfectly okay. Meditation is not about clearing your mind, going into a trance. These are some of the myths that's grown up around meditation. And in fact, and particularly in mindful meditation, thoughts are inevitable. They are not to be fought with. They are to be welcomed. They are to be understood as a perfectly natural human phenomenon. As a matter of fact, rather important. But in this form of meditation, what we're doing is we're sort of letting them come in as they will and letting them go equally so that we can be in this mode of self-care. It reminds me of if someone were to hand you a brightly colored balloon, it certainly would capture your attention. You'd be curious about it, and it's magical in how it floats and at the end of the string. But after you acknowledge it and you touch and go with it, you literally separate your fingers and the balloon floats away. And that's what we do with our thoughts. So again, I'm going to be quiet for a little while, and I want you to just remember that mindfulness is not having thoughts. Mindfulness is simply remembering to come back to the present moment. Remembering when you find yourself lost in thought. It's the act of remembering and coming back to the breath and the body. That's mindfulness. That's exercising the muscle of mindfulness. So it's not a bad thing. And matter of fact, it's why we're here. So I'll be quiet for a while and let you just open your fingers and let the balloons go. As we wind down this brief time in this meditation, I'm going to invite you to really have, I hope, a new appreciation for yourself as a human being. We believe that we are all innately good. There's actually a tremendous amount of new science with 6-week-old infants, having them make choices in little bits of video clips and so forth, stimulation, in which over and over and over again they always choose to be altruistic. They choose to be compassionate. So we're learning that human beings have come into this world as innately good, and that this is an important thing for us to really embrace and understand. And also that we have the miracle of consciousness. This is not to be taken for granted and not to be taken lightly. It's nothing less than a miracle that we're alive and we're awake and we're aware and we have these enormously evolved brains, and our minds are such that we have fantastic creativity and fantastic consciousness about ourselves, about the world, about the cosmos. So in a way, I invite you to appreciate and be aware of your awareness. In a sense, when the voice in our head, which represents so much of our thinking, an actual voice speaking in English to us in our heads, that's a miracle. But what may be a deeper miracle is to ask yourself, who's listening to the voice in your head? To identify more and more with that part of yourself, that quieter, perhaps wiser, perhaps older, perhaps ancient part of you that actually is listening to the voice, observing the thoughts. Then perhaps you're really coming home. You're really in touch with that part of you that is deeper, calmer, wiser, that part of you which helps bring you peace and compassion and calm. So we'll end with a few more minutes of quiet, and then I'll ring the bell. Just really want to thank everybody for coming over again on this special night, this special edition, and I'm so just thankful that you all made this happen for me, and namaste and drive safely home.